Hello everyone, I'm Colin, and I don't remember how to do this anymore. It's been about a week since I last filmed, which I don't have a consistent filming schedule, but it's been a little longer than I usually take between videos. I took a little time off to focus on script writing and whatnot, but I'm kind of glad I did take a little bit of time because, you know, I've been paying attention to some of the things that Anna O'Brien, Glitter and Lasers, has been doing, and some of the things she's been posting lately have kind of given me a lot of thoughts. I believe I've mentioned before that I'm a fan of Hannah Alonso here on YouTube. Obviously, I love her anti-MLM content, but especially her Influencer Insanity series. And it kind of got me thinking, like, wow, I feel like most of my channel thus far has been like one long episode of Influencer Insanity. Because with Anna, it just never ends, huh? Either someone she's associating with is doing something whack, or she's doing something whack. And it just, I don't know, it really got me thinking about kind of a pattern of behavior that's going on here. And something that I think I've seen in other influencers as well. I want to talk about parasocial relationships. I think when a lot of us think about parasocial relationships, we think of it mostly on the audience side, where the audience feels closely connected to a content creator when in reality they're not. But rarely, more rarely, I think sometimes you see it the other direction. I've always been of the opinion that, like, I kind of get creeped out whenever I hear content creators say, like, I love you to their audiences. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've started most of my videos with something like, hello friends, when I don't know you and we're not friends. No offense, it's just the truth. I really appreciate the people who follow me and the people who view my videos and give me a platform. But the reality is, we don't know each other, and there is no back and forth relationship there. I really do think Glitter and Lasers is a prime example of someone who feels too connected to her audience. I think at this point we've well established that her threads is kinda off the chain. It feels like she posts every little thought that floats through her head on threads. And the problem is that there are people like me who are critical of her who see those things. She just posted recently, about a day ago, and it's September 24th as I'm filming this. She says, I wish there was a way to share threads only with your community and not have it suggested or seen by others. What a perfect world that would be, huh? The problem with that is, like, how do you know who is in your community and who's not? Actually, I think it was the last video I posted, maybe the one before. It was a recent video where I was talking about one of Anna's supporters who was not able to see a difference since Anna had liposuction. I actually had someone in my comment section say, actually, that was me, and I wasn't being, like, for real, I'm not a supporter of hers. But they kind of had to pretend to be a supporter so that they didn't get blocked or their comment deleted. Now, I can't verify if that's the truth, if that person was really telling the truth to me or not, but it kind of paints a picture, doesn't it? Because if that story is true, that person really isn't a supporter and they were kind of being ironic in their statement, that kind of proves that, yeah, people can slip through the cracks. And it kind of just made me think, well, Anna, I think what you actually want here is a friend, because I really don't actually think what she wants on her social media is like a supportive community. Arguably, she has a very supportive community. There are people in her comments on her various social media who will buy anything she says to them, no matter whether she's contradicting herself or the things that she's saying and doing just contradict reality. If she says it, it must be true. But within that same community, you also have people who are giving her genuine, helpful advice, but she still takes it as hate. She just posted a video recently that's like, I think it's like a little bit over 8 minutes long. And if it looks familiar, that's because it's recycled footage of her working out. It's like her first workout since surgery. It's basically the Snyder cut of TikToks we've already seen. But in the comments of that video, you will see plenty of people who like her and support her saying the same thing they've always said, which is, you don't have to be doing all that because you could hurt yourself. For someone her size, it is way safer for her to walk or do exercise in the pool, things that'll be less stressful on her joints and her heart. Not that she ever responds to anything on YouTube. I think she actually, ironically, she posted a thread where she specifically said that she doesn't look at YouTube comments because they're so rude and critical. Interesting. But one of the reasons I know that she takes even constructive criticism badly is that, well, she turned off comments on her entire running journey series, which was full of the same types of comments. Yes, there are indeed people who are just awful and rude to her in the comments, but I think part of the reason she turned off the comments was because there were so many people who were actively supporting her who didn't support the fact that she was trying to run because she could be hurting herself. Those are the people who genuinely care about you, the ones who don't want you to injure yourself. Another reason I know that she is not a fan of constructive criticism is because one of the few places she does respond to criticism is Instagram. She just posted yet another before and after of her doing a squat with poor form and then a squat with slightly less poor form. And I'm not judging her squat because I can't do squats very well either. But what you wouldn't find me doing is posting photos like these and expecting people to praise me for my progress. Her point here is that she's more mobile since she had surgery, which was like most of the point, was less pain and more mobility. I can see barely any difference. I think the difference we're supposed to be seeing here is her back is slightly arched up. But I've seen plenty of people, and I'm not the expert, so I can't say for certain, but I have seen a lot of people that are like, this is still not good form. It may be slightly better than it was before, but it's nothing to write home about, basically. So she had a very helpful person in her Instagram comments who said, have you tried it standing on an incline? It can be a hack for ankle mobility and get you lower in your squat. Amazing progress. 3 clapping emojis. And Anna actually responded to this comment. She said, so my issue is that my lipedema physical obstructs my movement. I'm seeing, period, improvement because I recently had surgery to treat it. Heart emoji. And I'm struggling to understand how this is a response because this comment has nothing to do with the fact that Anna had surgery or anything. It's just friendly advice for how to improve further. But I guess this is, to me, just evidence that Anna really isn't interested in improving or getting any kind of constructive criticism. She just wants a hug box. Very interesting to me that Dr. Amron himself, on his own personal account, and also the Advanced Lipedema Treatment program, Instagram, which obviously is also his, are both commenting very positive things on this, because if anyone's going to be in her hug box, it's going to be him. And I think it's one thing to want a space where you don't have like hate and like, you know, non-constructive criticism, just people being rude. But I think it's another thing entirely to want a space where no one can offer you any kind of criticism or advice. I think that's part of the reason why she's starting up this newsletter thing, which, as far as I know, I've signed up for it, but I haven't gotten anything, so I don't think she's started it yet.
Hey guys, just a little reminder that I am launching a newsletter. The first one is actually going to go out tomorrow. So if you want to receive it, this is kind of your last chance to get on the email list. Go ahead and sign up here.
But it's really interesting that she's doing something like that, because it's something where presumably the people who are going to sign up for it the most are people who actively support her. And number two, there's really no comment section to a newsletter, is there? We would simply be here to receive whatever Anna gives us and have nowhere to express any kind of thoughts or contradictions or anything. It's also interesting to me because I feel like her biggest support is on her threads. The place where she's popping off the most is the place where people support her the most. And that could just be because it's a slightly smaller platform for her, comparatively speaking. So I think a lot of the people who are there following her are the people who would think to seek her out, if that makes sense. But it's interesting to me because I don't think she expected anyone to ever criticize things that she says there, because she says some really out-of-pocket shit on Threads. About a week ago, she said, "My biggest medical pet peeve is every time I go to the doctor's, invariably a thin man is sitting in the limited plus-size seating. He is man-spreading away while I'm forced to cram myself into a seat that puts pressure on the outsides of my legs that are still healing." And of course, people in the comments, there are people who are supporting her. This is a very common, like, fat activist kind of talking point, I guess you'd say. I agree, everyone should be able to sit down, especially in a doctor's office. But also, I think if you're at the point where you can't fit into a seat at the doctor's office, boy, how is that not a wake-up call? You know what I'm saying? But regardless, in this scenario, there were people in her comments who were like, you know, you are within your right to go up to this person and be like, "Hey, would you mind if I sat there? There's no other seat for me here that I can sit in." I think that would be perfectly reasonable. And if I happen to be that person sitting in the seat, I would gladly give it up to somebody else, because obviously that's just a nice thing to do. But she was not accepting that, because whenever people, oh, this is funny. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at it on my computer. I just clicked the like comment section and it says Glitter and Lasers limited replies on this post, which is something she claims that she doesn't do, by the way. Anyway, someone said, just ask them if you can sit there. Someone said she shouldn't have to, which, whatever. But no, she couldn't have that. And I have asked them to move before. It did not go well, so now I'm afraid to ask. And I'm like, okay, well, you could also, I don't know, maybe ask a receptionist at the doctor's office to help you out, or ask them if they have another seat. Like, there's so many things you could do to remedy this situation instead of just complaining about it on the internet, you know what I mean? A lot of people had that opinion, and she did not care for it because she limited the comments and then she responded to her own post. I did not expect this to turn into what it has. I'm recovering from surgery. Seats like that are necessary for me for a lot of reasons. Also, sure, that man could have had a host of issues he needed that seat for, but that's hard for me to believe when he was comfortable making room for his wife to sit next to him, which is a new detail suddenly we're getting. Interesting. Lastly, the irony of some calling me sexist while at the same time blindly judging me for my size is not lost on me. It was an observation where your comments are an attack. Man, she really cannot handle any kind of constructive criticism whatsoever. I don't know if you all know this, but Anna did write a book, supposedly a self-help book, in 2018. And Tiny Blue Anthropologist has a series where she's been going over the book, like chapter by chapter. I have the book. I started reading it. I have not finished it, but I have been watching Tiny Blue Anthropologist's videos about it. And there was a story where, like, when Anna worked in an office, and this is by her own recollection, she worked in an office and she received constructive criticism, her words, I'm pretty sure that's what she said, from like a manager or coworker, or maybe it was HR. And she fully admits that she like had a meltdown about it and like cried about it, was upset about it. And she framed it as like a learning opportunity where she was like, oh, I don't have to take constructive criticism as an attack. I should take it for what it is. And I'm like, man, that's from 2018, and really nothing has changed. This is not the last time this happened, within the last week, if you can believe it, because I don't know how to describe this other than, I'm just gonna read it to you. I once had a situation at a party where a male model told me the craziest story of the wild and pretty dangerous thing he did for a male celebrity a couple times a year to pay his bills. For years, I've wondered who the famous person was. A light bulb just went on. Y'all, I'm pretty sure it was Diddy. Which, girl, I know enough about this situation to know that I don't want to know any more about the situation. I'm comfortable not having 100% of the information about every horrible piece of news, and that's one of them. That's one of them. But I know enough, and I know enough to know that this is a fucking insane thing to post on the internet. And other people obviously agreed with me. There are multiple people saying, like, this is clickbait, this is not cool, I am blocking you for saying vague shit like this. Naturally, this one also says that comments are limited. And then she responded to herself, turning off comments because I clearly didn't realize how many people would demand to know what he did. I'm not sharing it because frankly, talking about it makes me super uncomfortable. It's not a topic I wish to add to the internet. It was an unusual thing told to me at a party that has haunted me for years. I just connected the dots and posted without thinking what it would lead to discussion-wise. Then delete it. This is one of the scenarios where I'm like, you should delete this. Like, she shady, dirty deletes things all the time. This is one where I'd be like, yeah, delete that. Obviously, I should clarify, I'm not saying that I doubt something like this could have happened. My problem is that Anna is just, like, throwing this out so vaguely on Threads because it feels like every time there's anything going on, she has to insert herself into the situation. And it's so infuriating that she throws something out like that. And then when people are like, you can't just do that without providing any details, like, what are you going to do about this situation? She says that she's uncomfortable talking about it anymore, and she doesn't want all the information out on the internet, which is so stupid because that's literally what she's doing in this moment. It just feels like clout chasing, really. That's the thing I'm irritated about, and I'm not sure if that came across clearly, so I just wanted to make it extra super clear what I was saying. This is part of the problem here, where I feel like this whole weird parasocial relationship she has with her audience is. This is something that, like, if I experienced this and I had this thought, I would probably tell my best friend, like, privately. I would not be posting something like this just casually on Threads to, like, I don't know, what, 79,000 people who have seen this post. It is insane that she thought to post this, and even more insane that she thought she wouldn't get any backlash for it. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that you post if you don't have many people in your life who are there to hear you just say whatever shit just comes to your mind. That's what friends are for. That's not what Threads are for. Especially when you're talking about, like, a situation as sensitive as this one. Like, this one really blew my mind. And I know there are a lot of people, and I believe I've said before that, like, she farms for engagement, like, she baits for engagement on Threads and elsewhere, but especially Threads. Like, those weird posts that she was making where she was describing movie plots from the first person, so you weren't exactly sure what was happening at first. And I think I've seen a few places where people have thought this was just rage bait. Like, even in her comments here, people are like, this is clickbait. And I honestly, I had that thought, but I kind of don't think that's the case here, because she wasn't expecting backlash. The thing about, like, rage baiting is that it's on purpose. You want the negative comments, because as far as, like, people who rage bait, all comments are created equal. It's all engagement, it's all good. But she limits and turns off comments because she doesn't want that kind of negative attention. She wants engagement for those weird posts, but she doesn't want negative engagement on stuff like this. I really honestly believe that she just doesn't have that many people in her life, first of all, to talk to about stuff like this, but second of all, to, like, check her and tell her, like, I saw what you posted, why did you post that? And yeah, like, where do you turn when you don't have that many people in your real life who will be honest with you? You turn to a loving, supportive comment section who will take whatever you say in stride. It really honestly reminds me a lot of the situation that Foodie Beauty is in right now. If you don't keep up with her, she has said some of the most vile, disgusting things you could possibly say on the internet. And yet, she has people in her community who support her no matter what. They support her saying disgusting things and acting disgusting ways, like not just like gross, but like repugnant, like morally repugnant things that she's done and said. And they also encourage her to do harmful things to herself. She's diabetic and regularly eating things that are not recommended by her doctor, by her own admission. And she gets annoyed and blocks people who disagree with her. So the only people that are left are people who encourage her to do those things, even though they know it's actively harming her health. And people do that to Anna too, like her workout video. Like, aside from all the people who are like, maybe focus on walking and like water aerobics so you don't hurt yourself, there are plenty of other people who are like, great job, keep it up, keep doing the same thing that you're doing, even though it really could be hurting you. And it's crazy because even on Threads, she has a post where she's like, I love when people are like, if you're thinner, you can live a fuller life and do more things. And she says, honestly, no thank you. I already do too much. Laughing, crying emoji. And the people in her comments are like, supporting that. There's not that many, and it doesn't look like she's limited comments on this one, but the people who actually did read this and respond are like, I'm so glad you prove everyone wrong, or like laughing emoji, etc., etc. And I'm like, wow, this is honestly one of the saddest and most defeatist things I think I've ever seen Anna post. And she's got people in her comments who are fully supporting that. Like, it's sad. Well, I said I don't think Anna has that many people in her real life to talk to, but we do know of at least one person.
Since I'm partnered with Starbucks, I'm going on a little coffee date with my friend. So my friend John is going to be coming over in a little bit, so I thought I would make him a little treat.
I'm sorry, who? Your friend, John? For those of you who are not super familiar with the Glitter and Lasers lore, John is her videographer and creative partner. In other words, he is her employee. She pays him to be there. And you can be friendly with your employees. I have no problem with that. But I think just straight up calling him her friend and vaguely referring to him in these videos and not being upfront about the fact that he's an employee is just like super disingenuous, which, yeah, typical for her. And it's clear, like, he's trying his best in these videos.
These are like that, but in a treat. What do you think?
That's really good.
That's really good.
It's a great combo.
Acting.
But in my opinion, from what I've seen of him, it feels to me like he really doesn't want to be there doing this. This does not seem to be what he signed up for. And I think that in combination with her calling him her friend, it's just a little bit icky to me. And this isn't the first time she's done stuff like this too. Like, she used to have someone who, I'm not exactly sure what this person's job title was, but it was like a younger woman who appeared in some of her videos and like did silly little things that friends might do in their friends' videos.
So I had this sleeping mat that we're gonna make Riley put on. Just put that on your face. I want you to reach in, grab a breadstick, and put it in your mouth.
But it was another scenario of Anna having her employee, someone she pays, do these videos with her when I'm not entirely sure they really wanted to be there. And you know, Anna did used to have other people show up in her videos a little bit more. Like, there's one friend who used to show up in her videos all the time. I specifically remember this friend in her her trip to Hawaii. We haven't seen that friend in a really long time. And she has, like, I've gone back like to some of her really older videos, and she talks about like how she's had to cut certain friends out of her life because they were toxic. And I fully believe that that could be true. I think most people throughout their lives end up with friends who are really not true friends, and they deserve to be kind of cut out of their lives. But in the light of the fact that Anna is incapable of taking any kind of advice or criticism, part of me has to wonder about those friends. I think part of the issue when you don't accept any kind of criticism and you only want people who are yes men around you, is you end up getting so out of touch doing the kinds of things that Anna does on the internet. I don't know, if anything, I want to learn from things like this. I mean, like, if I ever get to the point where I look to my audience to like validate me, I think I just need to log off. That's a solution to a lot of things. Log off. Honestly, I will say, I did feel pretty good taking a little break, you know, because you don't want to burn out either. I think that's a lot of Anna's problem too, is I think she's just online too much. I think she's admitted that before, like she doesn't really know how to turn off, because I do think a lot of people use social media to kind of log out of their real life and just take a break and just scroll. But when your job is social media, how do you take a break from that, you know? You really do just need to get offline sometimes. All right, folks, well, I think that's all I gotta say today. Thank you for sticking around, even though sometimes I take a little break here and there. I can't guarantee I won't be taking more breaks in the future, because really I would love to get this video to you as soon as possible. The big one, the lipedema video, I'd like to get that one to you as soon as possible. It's very long. I'm up to like, I don't know, 54 or 55 pages at this point. It's a lot. I think I don't want it to be multiple parts, because there are some parts of it that just cannot be separated. There are some parts where I feel like I could cut them out and then expand on them in separate but related videos. I would honestly love to do more stuff like that. You all know I enjoy talking about Anna, but you know, I would like to branch out and talk about other stuff too. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you next time.
Acting. Good night.